Miss the hard-hitting defenses of the 80s and 90s?
He beats one man, beats another, and hit again. And down he goes.
There's something about Lawrence Taylor that is larger than life.
You know, the ones where defenses weren't scaredy cats, quarterbacks wore helmets made of wet toilet paper, and every play felt like a WWE brawl.
37-yard line, Brady stepping up, deep downfield, wide open, Brandon Cooks. Then he gets smacked down at the 40-yard line, taking some shot.
Hold on for flying face mask, road cleats disappearing to the sky, and tackles so bone-jarring your teeth will be doing a happy dance.
Rodgers down the middle, picked, intercepted by Colin Jones. Second interception by Rodgers.
This video is an epic throwback action into the glorious era of the NFL's most violent players from the 80s and 90s.
Garoppolo 12 of 19 in this half. Oh my goodness! Goodwin just got unloaded.
The guys who'd get flagged faster than a streaker at a wedding these days. Let's get started with Lawrence Taylor. Number 10, Lawrence Taylor. Forget your average linebacker. LT was a terrifying linebacker launched from a freaking cannon. Imagine a runaway train chugging on rocket fuel with a side dish of pure rage. That's LT barreling down on you, quarterback with murder in his eye.
Hey, Sully, you better hope I never get back in there. I will kick your ass.
Running backs would be tripping over their own feet, begging for a career change to underwater basket weaving just to avoid this walking apocalypse. Quarterbacks, they'd be praying for holding calls every night, but the refs back then were about as useful as a chocolate sport. Remember that bone-crushing hit on Joe Theismann in '85? The one that left him looking like he got tackled by a small planet? Yeah, that was LT's doing. Totally legal back in the day, but these days, dude would be chilling in the penalty box for a year, and everyone would be like, yeah, that seems fair. Number 9, Ronnie Lott. LT was a monster, sure, but Ronnie Lott? Pure intensity in a smaller package. This 4-time Super Bowl champ had a nose for trouble like a bloodhound on a steak. And what kind of trouble did Ronnie find? The bone-crushing kind. He wasn't playing patty cake out there. Dudes were getting launched. Imagine a human torpedo screaming towards the ball carrier. That was Lott. Today's refs would throw a flag faster than you could say, ouch. But back then, boom, lights out. His highlight reel is a gold mine of hits that would make your jaw hit the floor. Today's NFL, forget about it. You need a chiropractor on standby just watching those tackles. Number 8, Bill Romanowski. Bill Romanowski wasn't your average linebacker. He was a renegade with a permanent chip on his shoulder. Forget low tackles, this guy went lower than a limbo champion in a sinkhole. Launching himself at quarterbacks, think missile with shoulder pads and a mean streak. Every snap with Romo felt like a gladiator brawl, minus the net and with a teammate screaming like a warrior king. The man could ball, no doubt, but his brand of brutality would get him ejected faster than you can yell, targeting today. They called him RomoCop for a reason. This cyber-looking linebacker played with one mission: destroy. Number 7, Keith Jackson. Want a superstar? Forget about it. Linebacker Keith Jackson wasn't just tackling guys, he was Thanos snapping them out of existence. Picture a heat-seeking missile with a personal grudge against footballs. That's Jackson bearing down on you. Fancy footwork? Useless. Jukes? Spins? You might as well try and tap dancing on a minefield. Jackson was a freight train of fury, shutting down blades cleaner than a freshly steamed shirt. Refs today might faint at the sight, but back then it was just Sunday fun day for Keith, leaving ball carriers starry-eyed and a play sparkling like a new penny. Number 6, Amani Toomer. Forget ballet shoes. Amani Toomer was a wide receiver with fists of fury. This Giants legend wasn't just catching passes, he was laying down the boom on defensive backs. Imagine a highlight reel full of legal blocks that will leave DBs looking like they got blindsided by a linebacker. Sure, Toomer wasn't as, ruthless as some on the list, but these days, refs will be waving flags faster than you can say pass interference just to protect these fragile defensive snowflakes. Back then, though, that was just another day at the office for Toomer, catching touchdowns and leaving defenders in his wake. Number 5. Ickey Woods. Size wasn't everything for Ickey Woods. This running back wasn't a giant, but he ran with the heart of a lion and the head of a battering ram. His punishing style was legendary, and his touchdown celebration, the Ickey Shuffle, was basically him spiking the ball with his face mask. Pure old school football. Sure, Woods could dance in the end zone, but make no mistake, he could dish out punishment too. Today's refs, with their flags flying for everything, might not have been so cool for Ickey's brand of smash mouth football, but back then though, every rumble down the field was a party and the Ickey Shuffle was just the after party. Number 4. Charles Haley. 5 rings? Hall of Famer? Charles Haley was a force of nature more than anything. This defensive terror was a quarterback's worst nightmare. Legal or dirty, it was all the same to Haley. Quarterbacks were going down. Today's refs will need some smelling salts, but back then, open season on the pocket. Forget fancy footwork, Haley was a wrecking crew, collapsing defenses and leaving QBs in his wake. This wasn't ballet, it was a rock concert with Haley as the lead guitarist, leaving offenses singing the blues all game long. Love him or hate him, Haley was a legend, a highlight reel walking a reminder of football era where defenders ruled the game. Number 2. Darryl Stingley. Highlight reels? Who needs them when you have cornerbacks like this? Wide receivers sprinting for a touchdown? More like sprinting straight into a spider web. Stingley would wrap them up tighter than yesterday's news, leaving them feeling stuck like a fly on a lollipop. And way worse than that rock-hard bubblegum you forgot in your pocket. Now, Stingley wasn't exactly Mr. Manners. Think more back alley brawler than ballerina. Holding calls and personal fouls, his middle name. Today's refs would be throwing flags like confetti at a parade. But back then, Stingley was king of the jungle, and his defense was so aggressive, you'd get tossed faster than a fan chucking a hot dog at the oomp. Number 1. Dick Butkus. Mentioning legendary hitters, Dick Butkus is the name that should cause earthquakes. This linebacker, reigning supreme in the 60s, 70s, and even spilling into the 80s, wasn't about tackling, he dealt in earth-shattering collision. Let's be honest, some might say, and probably rightly so, his takedowns were downright terrifying. But that was football back then, a different breed. He basically invented the whole knock your socks off defense. Fast forward to today's NFL though, nah, forget about it. With all the new rules and padding, Butkus wouldn't last a single play. Still, you gotta give respect where it's due. This guy was a force of nature on the field, an absolute legend. Remember those days when Monday Night Football meant tuning in for bone-crushing tackles and highlight reels that looked like car crash compilations? Refs, more like glorified bystanders while players traded blows like barbarians in a coliseum. Yeah, those were the Wild West days of the NFL. Today, the league's all about protecting its million-dollar quarterbacks. Back then, a defender could unleash a hit that'll make YouTube erupt, and today's refs throw flags faster than you can say, ouch. Penalties are the new overlord. Breathe on the quarterback roll, and you looking at a first down and a tongue lasher from the coach. QBs are like untouchable fortresses now, with defenders needing a playbook thicker than a phone book to even consider a love tap. Hey, that's progress for ya. Player safety is the name of the game these days, not launching someone into the stratosphere with a highlight reel hit. Brutal tackles are a relic of the past, replaced by chess matches played out on the gridiron. Imagine the difference between a helmet made of leather and cardboard compared to today's space-age shock absorbers. The whole game revolves around outsmarting your opponent, not just knocking them silly. It's about dissecting plays, exploiting weaknesses, and executing with precision. Sure, some old-timers might grumble that the game's gone soft. But come on now, who cares if there are fewer highlight reel knockout. Players get to live long, healthy lives without fearing a career-ending hit every play. It's a new era, a safer era, and that's something everyone can celebrate. After all, wouldn't you rather see your favorite quarterback lead his team to victory for years to come instead of spending his retirement years drooling over instant replay footage of a concussion-inducing hit? That was a wild ride through the glory days of brutal football. Who was your favorite bone-crushing tackler of the bunch? Let us know in the comments down below. And if you enjoyed this trip down memory lane, don't forget to smash that like button and subscribe to the channel for more epic NFL content. We've got highlight reels, draft analysis, and everything in between to keep your football fix strong.